Hello, I'm Jenny and I am an astrologer who channels the energy of Archangel Metatron. I invited Archangel Metatron into my person, asking for the gift of what is referred to in the church as the gift of tongues, as the Holy Spirit, because Archangel Metatron is the energy of the Holy Spirit. And so I have been channeling him and working with him since childhood. I took a very long vacation. I took a break, is what he's saying from that. And he asked me to, part of my contract here on Earth is to prophesy for the Earth using his energy with astrology. So we're going to talk this week about the new moon, the full moon that we have coming to Scorpio. 9 degrees of Scorpio. Scorpio is here, where we've got all year, well, since last October, Jupiter came into the sign of Scorpio, and Scorpio is about what goes on in the depths of our psyche. Jupiter, the planet that pushes us to the truth of our own existence and who is never satisfied until he finds it, has been going through the sign of Scorpio and will continue to do so almost about till mid-November of 2018. That's why a lot of sex scandals have come to light. We have a lot more coming to the surface, bubbling up from the deep secrets. Scorpio is about power and sex and money. And so we're going to see a lot more of those things playing out. It's a water sign, and it's working in trine now with the energy of Neptune. Neptune and Jupiter are both the rulers of Pisces. Jupiter was the ancient ruler, and then when Neptune came into consciousness, Jupiter went to be, stayed in Sagittarius, but he is the ancient ruler of Pisces. So they're speaking in an energy known as a trine. So that's very watery energy. It can also be where you're feeling feelings of euphoria. And then because of Jupiter being in Scorpio, you can also be feeling a lot of depression. Either way that you choose to channel those energies, though, will spiral. Because these are Neptune and Jupiter are very big energies. So if you put your thoughts and your emotions towards something negative, then it'll become very dark very fast. So we're focusing on the joy and the benefits and gratitude of being on this planet right now, because those who are not yet awakened are most likely not doing that with these energies happening. It can feel very, very heavy unless you're staying in the place of light. So the sun is always in opposition to the moon when the moon becomes full, and the sun is in Taurus. So you can see they're at 9 degrees, 9 degrees there, 9 degrees there, and then at 9 degrees we have Saturn in Capricorn. Saturn rules the institutions, the church, banking. It rules government. It's the sign of like prestige and power and authority. So all of these energies, the moon in Scorpio is answering to Pluto and Mars, which are in a conjunction. So their energies are working together. And I said Scorpio is about power and sex and money. Mars is the flame, the fire that gets us going and gets us moving. It pushes us out of where we need to. This energy pushes us where we need to be for our transformation in order to become what we are here to be. So it's about bringing action to the transformation right now, and that's what this full moon is all about. So it's about illuminations and things coming to the surface. It's about us being pushed into the right direction with where we are going on our soul's path in this lifetime. We've got Uranus, Mercury, and Chiron answering to Mars, who is answering to Saturn, Jupiter answering to Pluto, and Mars, who are answering to Saturn. And then later this week, Mercury will move into Taurus in the next couple of weeks. Pretty soon, we're coming up to a period of time with Uranus moving into Taurus where it's going to be all about what's going on with Taurus, and then in a trine aspect, which is an easy flow of energy with the other earth sign of Capricorn ruled by Saturn. So we're going to go through these energies now. This full moon is very powerful. It's emotional because it's in a water sign, and it's, like I said, the depths and the darkness. So this full moon will bring forward truth and illumination. It can also be a feeling of great emotion. And that's going to be going on for a few days after that full moon happens. The sun in Taurus is on each degree of the zodiac, 360 degrees, have a psychic interpretation. There's an spiritual interpretation called the Sabian symbol attached to each degree. So in your own natal chart, it's interesting to look at what degree, like your sun and your ascendant, your moon, and each of your planets fall, because it has great significance, is what Metatron is saying. So in Scorpio, it is a fellowship. It's the moon in Scorpio. A fellowship supper reunites old comrades. So this is about the lights coming together with other light workers. It's important for us right now to have community. Even Amanda Ellis was saying to me, I'm taking her course right now, Metatron level 1. And I'll just say, as someone who has channeled his energy for a long time, just in personal sessions, as I do with people, that I have gotten so much out of this course. And wherever you are with Metatron or with the Holy Spirit, taking this course will enhance your relationship with him. It will give you so much more of an appreciation, and you'll realize that he's always been with you, and it'll speak to you in just a myriad of ways that I just can't go on and on about it enough. I really recommend it for everyone. It's very affordable, and it will enhance your life and your spiritual gifts, and it's a tremendous learning. And what she said to me is that she's found in the past 6 to 9 months that we need each other. We need community more. And that's what this is about, this Sabian symbol. It's about reaching out to other light workers and then coming together as a fellowship supper. He was talking to me about doing like potlucks with people, like saying, like, let's meet at my house, once a month, and everybody brings something. Just a time to come together to talk about the light is what he's saying, just to uplift one another. Because there's so much going on out there that can get, it starts to get to you if you're watching the news, if you're paying attention too much maybe to what's going on in social media. It's just a good time of uplifting and community and remembering like that we're not alone. Then Neptune is in a trine aspect. So Neptune sitting over here in Pisces, also emotion and feeling those, euphoric feelings if you let it get that way, but a lot of emotion. It's talking, it's right between, because we've got Jupiter at 19, we've got the moon at 9, and then we've got at 15, Neptune sitting on Arcanar, which is a fixed star that the ancients believed was a gateway to other dimensions. So again, we have another sign pointing to the outpouring of the light and spirit to the planet. So it's important for us with this full moon to keep our focus there and to just allow spirit to hold us, to ask the angels to take whatever is in our energy that's negative, that's making us feel, just ask them to come into your energy and to lift that from you, and you'll feel so much better. I was saying that when I've gone through dark times in the past few years of just intensive healing work that I've done myself, the nights when I would go to sleep feeling really, really sad, I would ask to spend time with Archangel Hope. She's the twin energy of Gabriel. And in the morning, I felt so much better just spending a little time with Archangel Hope. And the sun is going to be answering to Venus in Gemini. The Sabian symbol for where Venus is in Gemini is an old-fashioned well, like a well. So we're getting that, again, that deep water. The symbol implies going to the depths in order to find fulfillment, finding your own I am presence, and knowing that spirit, the universe, God, and source is within you. That gives you the ability to let go and to just go with the flow. Because as he said, these energies are like a thrill ride. So this is about going inside into the deepest part of us, remembering that we're the light. That's essentially who we are. The rest of it is an illusion. And getting to that I am presence, being and standing up strong and remembering who you are. And then this is also the last full moon that will happen before Uranus makes his move into Taurus. And that's when we should, Uranus brings about like abrupt change, shifts, things that can't be undone, that are permanent and that are significant, let's say. So wherever Taurus falls in your own natal chart, you'll see the way that that's going to play out for you. So for Aries sun now, it'll be more calm, or Aries ascendant even more. It'll be more of a time of calm. And then we'll see people with a strong Taurus represented in their own natal chart go through periods of change. That'll be for about 8 years that he spends in Taurus. And then Monday, April 3rd, the moon is going to come up to Jupiter. So that's another, then following that full moon, we're dealing with another day of a lot of emotion. On Tuesday, May 1st, the moon will move into Sagittarius, so that's all about telling truth. But that moon is also still answering to Jupiter and Scorpio. So Venus in Gemini then will give an aspect of action to Saturn in Capricorn. So whenever a planet makes an aspect to Saturn, it's something of permanence and of structure, and it's something about the foundation of our life. So when we're talking about Venus in Gemini answering to Mercury, answering to Mars, answering to Saturn, it's like a lot of Saturn. It'll be something of significance or value that comes up for all of us on May 1st. It could be in the collective. It could be individually. It will play out differently for everyone, again, depending on your own natal chart. But it'll be like knowing the truth, and that truth sets you free. That's what Metatron had to say about that energy. That's Tuesday, May 1st. Then on May 2nd, Wednesday, we've got Neptune and Mercury in aspect. So that can be like dreams, visions, realizations. Good night to be calling things in for dream time. I ask Metatron a lot of nights before I go to sleep to allow me to remember a dream that will tell me something that, maybe I'm still holding on to that I could give up, or to show me something about my future. So anytime you ask something like that, he's always happy to cooperate with that. Then Friday, Saturday, the 4th and 5th, and this is going to play out really through Tuesday, May 8th. The Sun in Taurus will be moving into what's called a sextile with Neptune in Pisces. So that's about, again, Taurus is about value, Neptune, spirit. It's also the higher octave of Venus because it's unconditional love. So that's a nice aspect. It can leave us a little bit sleepy anytime things are coming into aspects with Neptune. Like I've been trying to tell everyone when that whole thing went around about the solar storms, which by the way was not true. There weren't any big solar storms going on at that time. And if you want to follow the geomagnetic storms, Metatron had me start following those a few years ago. There's a website, it's NOAA, and that's the organization where you can sign up with your email for alerts for days that geomagnetic storms are going to be serious. They were about maybe 10, 11 days ago. We were having very significant geomagnetic storms. But the reason that everyone is feeling tired right now, if you were born in the 60s, Jupiter is going past where Neptune was when we were born. And that, just like Johann Kepler said, he's the father of modern physics. When you were born, the way that your natal chart or your birth chart laid out the planets in aspect to the Earth, those energies imprinted on you. We're all energy in a human body, and the planets are giant bodies of energy, and how they impact the Earth, that's the energy that we're all feeling, is the astrology going on in the sky. So the way that when you came out and your body or your soul, your spirit, your energy took in the energies of the planet, that's all like things that play out from past lifetimes, things that have been going on in your family line. It's all recording there. It's like a chart that's recording like the story of your soul. So that Neptune in Scorpio, where it was when you were born in the 60s, Jupiter going by that will intensify these feelings of euphoria or sadness, depending on how you're allowing the energies to play out for you. So that'll be a little bit sleepy energy that's going on through, it's going on like intensely the 4th through the 8th, but then we've got Jupiter coming into the trine with Neptune in the sky, like where the planets are right now. So it'll be even more of that. So it's, you know, we have to be careful that we're sleeping enough, we're drinking enough water, keeping our physical activity. We want to like be going out in nature. It's a lot of water, and it's a good time to connect with the ground. And then also the air, because we've got Venus and Gemini, but otherwise there's not much going on in the air signs in the sky. So yeah, the Sun in Taurus moving into a sextile with Neptune. The moon will meet with Saturn that day, so that's a more serious energy. That's on Friday the 4th. But what he said was that it would be a subtle, easy flow with spirit. So it isn't a day maybe of so much euphoria because of Saturn meeting the moon that day. That's Friday, but then the 5th through the 8th, we've got more of that easy kind of, you know, light feeling, but we're a little bit sleepy. On Thursday the 8th, Venus will move into an aspect with Jupiter as Jupiter comes up to Neptune. So again, that's about unconditional love. And he's saying that in order to alleviate the feelings of heaviness or sadness, that it's a wonderful trick, is what he's saying, to make a list of just say 5 things before you go to sleep that you're happy worked out that day. I'm glad I got a good parking spot. I'm glad I found this on sale at the grocery store, anything like that. Immediately will lift your mood, is what he's saying. He said, sweet or sour, you decide. Because the moon will also come up in conjunct Pisces then on the 8th. So again, like I said, it's going to be a little bit sleepy energy. You might just want to ask Metatron to give you a boost of energy for those days. Before I go to sleep at night, I say that I'm going to wake up with enough energy to finish my entire day if I know it's a day that I'm going to have a lot going on with the sleepiness that we're experiencing. On Wednesday the 9th, Mars will come up to a point in the sky where Pluto was when the United States was founded. Make a note of that day because Mars is going to come back to that point of the sky. So that's on Wednesday the 9th. I'm interested to see what's going to play out for us here in the United States that day. The next day then he's going to go into what's called, or not, within a couple of days, he's going to go into what's called a shadow period, getting ready for his retrograde. So everything that comes up then between Wednesday the 11th through June 26th, we're going to be replaying all of those things then as Mars goes through his retrograde. You know, he goes through shadow, he goes back through retrograde, and then he comes back again. So these are things that are going to come up for us 3 times, and he just said that that would be significant, that it's significant the points that Mars is hitting in the sky during that period. Then on Friday the 11th, the moon will be in Aries. Mercury will have a conversation with Mars that will be pretty intense. Uranus and Mars will start coming into what's called a trine. So Uranus, this whole time, for the past about 8 years, Uranus has been in Aries answering to Mars, wherever Mars was in the sky at that time. Uranus is electricity and change, it's shifts, it's revelation and revolution, and it's been on fire for about 8 years answering to Mars. He's getting ready then on the 14th or 15th for the 15th for, I think, all of us. I'm trying to think of European or Universal Time. He will make that shift into Taurus after he has a very long conversation with Mars in the end degrees of Capricorn. Every planet has a sign of where they're exalted, it's called. And so it's where they're like extra fueled up. And Mars is the planet of fire. And it's in its sign of exaltation when it's in Capricorn. So it doesn't lose momentum as it goes through Capricorn. It actually gains momentum. And he's going to be at the very last degree where we find the most intense energy of each sign. It's the 29th degree, so 11, the master number. Also important for your own natal chart, what planets and points you have at 29 degrees of any sign. At 29 degrees of Capricorn, he's going to be in an aspect that's called a square. It's a 90-degree aspect. So squares are powerful. And he's going to have that conversation with Uranus for a few days just before Uranus tips then into Taurus. And then shortly after, Mars tips into Aquarius, which Uranus rules. So it will be, I started doing this because of what's happening now. I knew that, you know, well, Metatron said, like, you're late, basically. But also because, I mean, it's so important right now that we're keeping track of these things, because what's happening with the collective now will be affecting us for generations to come, is what he's saying. And the things going on right now in astrology are maybe the most exciting in a millennia. I mean, it's so much pointing to earth changes, fire, water, and earth, just exactly as Amanda has been talking about is the astrology, as always. Whenever he gives his energy reports for the month, it's always you know, I can always point to what exactly she's talking about in the sky, or what he's talking about. So you can't say with astrology when exactly things will happen. You can say, like, there's the potential for this, but there's free will involved. There's divine timing involved. And if anybody tells you that they know exactly with the planet Uranus, nobody knows. Everyone knows something is big is going to happen, but you can't say exactly where on the planet, and you can't say exactly when on the planet. We're being set up right now, is what he's saying, for the big shift. And that will be, as he talked about a few weeks ago, a sustained period of time moving forward, that we're going through this big period of change, because Uranus will be in Taurus for 8 years. And by the way, then when Uranus is in Taurus, he's answering to the divine feminine Venus. So then Heimdall, I was going to talk about Heimdall is an asteroid, and the name Heimdall means the guard of the bridge between heaven and earth. So in your own natal chart, it represents Archangel Metatron most of the time, but he said that there were some exceptions in certain natal charts that, you know, it could be the asteroid Angel. But that will be, he right now, or the representation of his energy is in the sign of Aquarius, and on the 11th of May will aspect the planet Pluto, which carries the energy of the phoenix, death and transformation. And I always thought that was funny how he put his, you know, Megatron over the Transformers, for those of you that raise boys. Metatron, I always said, like, he's over the Transformers. He's in charge of the transformation. So he will make an aspect to Pluto on May 11th, and that's, you know, 5 change, 11 master day. It'll be very interesting to see what goes on in these next couple weeks. And then Saturday, Mercury and Uranus will have a conversation. So he was talking about with all of the stuff that's happening, like the 11th through the 13th, he was talking about changes with currency, because then on the 13th, Mercury moves into Gemini, which is his own sign. And he's in mutual reception then with he's in the same sign with Venus. Venus is about money, cash, like things that we value, things that are of value, valuables. And Mercury is about mercantile, you know, merchandise. It's about the stock market. So he said that the currency and the markets will begin to be set straight. And then again, we've got that conversation happening with Mars and Uranus just before Mars or Uranus tips into the sign of Taurus, and that will happen just before or just after, like a few hours after the new moon in Taurus, you know, comes on the 15th. So it almost is like an arrow if you look at the way that they're aspecting Taurus. All of the planets, they'll be like Mercury will be in Taurus, Uranus, these two will be in Taurus, the Sun, Venus will all be in Taurus then. Or I'm sorry, not Venus. Venus will be in Gemini, but all 3 of these will be in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and Venus is in Mercury sign of Gemini, and so they will be in what's known as mutual reception. So they're getting like the most strength that they have, like, because they're basically in their home sign, because they kind of trade spaces. It's called mutual reception. So I'm going to make another video then for that, the transition of Uranus into Taurus, talking about Christ's return to the church, the I am consciousness coming back in all of us now as Chiron has shifted into Aries. It's about bringing back our I am presence, and it's about the truth coming to the church. It's about the institution of the church and the legalism and the falsehoods that were put out in the Bible. All of those things are about to transform. So it's a very exciting time for all of us. I hope you have a great couple weeks. Happy full moon. Full moons always bring illuminations and downloads. So here's to that. And namaste, everybody. Happy May.